Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to week 27 of your SAT math prep. This video is going to have added importance this week as half of us did not get to meet with our instructor for plug time this week, so you'll need to watch the video before you do the skill check. Our topic this week is literal equations, which is where we take a formula and we solve for a specific variable. So it's an abstract approach to solving equations. Again, it should not be any big deal for us to do so. So we're going to go through several examples. Please make sure you're taking good notes so that you have them available to you when we are doing the skill check. Example 1 says the speed of sound in dry air V can be modeled by the formula V equals 331.3 plus 0.606 T, where T is the temperature in degrees Celsius and V is measured in meters per second. Which of the following correctly expresses T in terms of V? So when we see correctly expresses T, that tells us we are supposed to solve for T. So we're taking that equation, V equals 331.3 plus 0.606 T, and we are solving it for T. We need to get T by itself. So to do that, the first thing we need to do is move the 331.3 to the other side of the equation, which requires us to subtract. So V minus 331.3 equals 0.606 T. Then, to get T by itself, we would need to divide by 0.606. We're not actually going to carry out that division, we're just going to write it as division. So T is equal to V minus 331.3 divided by 0.606, which is option D, is the correct answer. Example 2 says the formula below is often used by project managers to compute E, the estimated time to complete a job, where O is the shortest completion time, P is the longest possible completion time, and M is the most likely completion time. Which of the following correctly gives P in terms of E, O, and M? So again, when we see correctly gives P, that's telling us we are supposed to solve for P. So we locate the P in the equation. That's what we're trying to get by itself. So the first thing we would do is multiply each side of this equation by 6 to clear the fraction, which would give us 6E equals O plus 4M plus P. Now again, we're still trying to get that P by itself, just like we were trying to get T by itself in the last equation. So to get P by itself, we need to move the O to the other side, and we need to move the 4M to the other side. Neither one of those would combine with anything on the other side of the equation, so they would simply move to the other side where they would become negative, which means P equals 6E minus O minus 4M, which is choice A. So again, that's what we're looking at here. They give us an equation. They tell us which variable to solve for. All we have to do is apply our algebra knowledge to solve that equation for the specific variable that they're talking about, to isolate that variable. Okay, on to example 3. Example 3 says in the formula D equals T minus 9/25 times the quantity 100 minus H. That formula can be used to approximate the dew point D in degrees Fahrenheit, given the temperature T in degrees Fahrenheit, and the relative humidity of H%, where H is over 50%. Which of the following expressions expresses the relative humidity in terms of temperature and dew point? So when we see relative humidity, and relative humidity was H, that means we need to solve for H. So we take that equation, which is D equals T minus 9/25 times 100 minus H, and our goal is to free H, to get it by itself. So the first step would be to move the T to the other side of the equation, which would give us D minus T equals negative 9/25 times 100 minus H. Then we would multiply both sides of that equation by the reciprocal of 9 over 25, which is negative 25 over 9. That would cancel out that fraction on the right side and would give us negative 25 over 9 times the quantity d minus t equals 100 minus h. Our next step then would be to subtract 100 from each side, which would give us negative h on one side, and on the other side, negative 25 over 9 times d minus t minus 100 equals negative h. Now we're very close at this point. We just need to get rid of the negative. So if we divide everything in that equation by negative 1, we get our final answer, which is that h is equal to 25 over 9 times the quantity d minus t plus 100. So 25 over 9 times d minus t plus 100, that would be choice A. Okay, the final example for today is surface area of a sphere is given by the formula S equals 4 pi r squared. The surface area is S in terms of the length of its radius r. Which of the following gives the radius of the sphere in terms of its surface area? So again, it's all about gives the radius of the sphere, which means we are solving that equation for r. So we're taking our equation, S equals 4 times pi times r squared, and we're solving for r. So the first step would be to move the 4 and the pi by dividing by 4 and by pi. That would give us S over 4 pi is equal to r squared. We are, however, trying to get just r, not r squared, so we would end up taking the square root of each side, meaning that the radius would be equal to the square root of S over 4 pi, which is choice A. All right, now the skill check this week is a little bit longer because, again, this is a skill that we need to be very good at going forward. So you will need to leave a little bit of time to make sure that you have enough time to work through all the various questions. There are a number of questions on that skill check. So make sure you take your time, make sure you read carefully, and remember that you are solving for whichever variable they tell you to express the formula in terms of. So go to Google Classroom, try that skill check, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time and attention.